Okay, let's unpack this. So today we're taking a deep dive into a really ancient story, but one that honestly still feels incredibly relevant. We're looking at a reflection guide on the figure of Job.
Ah, Job. Yeah, when you talk about suffering, I mean, he's pretty much the benchmark, isn't he?
Totally. The absolute definition.
It really is. And our sources, they dig into just how extreme his situation was. You know, this complete collapse. He goes from having everything.
The peak of life, right? Wealth, big family respect.
Exactly. Peak life. And then, bam, instantly drops to the absolute bottom, loses all his property, every single one of his kids, gone in a day.
Oh, it's just unimaginable.
And then on top of all that loss, he gets hit with this horrific physical agony, covered head to foot in these painful, miserable sores. Boils, the text says.
That's a total devastating wipeout. So our mission today really is to get past just the horror story. You know, we want to pull out the practical stuff for you, the listener.
Yeah, what can we actually learn from this?
How do we face the hard times that, let's face it, everyone goes through? What's the role of faith when everything seems to be falling apart? And crucially, how do we find some meaning, maybe even some support, when we're in that kind of intense pain?
It's definitely a heavy topic, but the insights, I think, are incredibly relevant for today. Let's start right there with Job, you know, sitting in the ashes, basically.
Right.
The reflection guide we looked at really points out that his suffering wasn't just like physical or material, losing the wealth, losing his health. Devastating, of course.
But there was more to it.
Way more. Often, his worst pain, the guide suggests, came from this intense spiritual pressure and just severe mental anguish.
And the truly gut-wrenching part is where that deeper pain came from.
Yeah.
His friends, the people who were supposed to be there for him.
That's the deep psychological wound the sources really focus on. They show up, right? The intention is, we're here to comfort you.
To say Shiva, essentially.
Exactly. But it shifts so fast. They go from being mourners to, well, basically debate opponents, attackers almost. And their message, boiled down, was just agonizingly cruel. Look, Job, you must have some secret sin. You got to find it, confess it, and then God will stop your suffering.
So while he's literally covered in sores, losing everything, their comfort is basically, what did you do wrong? Talk about kicking someone when they're down.
It's like the ancient version of getting a passive-aggressive text saying, maybe examine your conscience. When you're already completely overwhelmed, it's just salt in the wound.
A massive wound.
Yeah, and the study makes this really important point. The external hits, the loss of stuff, the physical pain, that's one level. But the damage done by misunderstanding, by accusation, especially from people you trust, that often cuts way deeper.
So they weren't just like questioning his circumstances, they were judging his character, his whole relationship with God.
Pretty much. They delivered this moral verdict, essentially saying, well, you kind of had this coming, Joe.
Oof. That sense of betrayal, feeling totally alone with the people who should understand you best, that must turn suffering into just utter desolation.
That's it, that crushing weight of judgment from your inner circle, right when you're at your most vulnerable. That's why Job's story is such a powerful look at emotional isolation in a crisis.
And even though Job's situation is, off the charts extreme, the reflection guide brings it right back to us. It makes this point that suffering isn't really optional, is it?
No, it's just part of being human. The guide reminds us nobody gets a free pass, no matter who you are or what you believe. It even references Jesus saying, in this world, you will have trouble. It's a given.
Right. And I thought this was really interesting how the sources kind of update the idea of suffering for today.
Yeah, they definitely broaden the definition way beyond just, getting sick or losing your job.
What sort of things are they including?
Well, things we all recognize, probably. Like work burnout. Not just being tired, but that deep, soul-crushing exhaustion.
Yeah, feeling completely depleted.
Or dealing with long-term severe stress. The kind that messes with your sleep, maybe leads to chronic insomnia.
And that constant mental grind, right?
Okay.
Anxiety, depression.
Exactly. The guide insists these things are absolutely real, agonizing forms of suffering and helplessness, even if there's no, obvious physical injury.
And that validation feels so important. Because sometimes if you don't have a fever or a cast on your arm, people, maybe even ourselves, tend to downplay it.
Right, just snap out of it or push through it.
But the study is clear. This non-physical pain, this feeling of being stuck and hopeless, it's just as real, just as debilitating as Job's boils were to him.
And that pressure we sometimes feel to hide that kind of pain, that just isolates people more. It keeps them stuck, kind of like Job was with his friends, judging him. So just acknowledging it, saying, yeah, this is real, that's a huge first step.
Okay, but here's where it took a turn I wasn't expecting. You mentioned faith earlier. I think a lot of us assume, maybe subconsciously, that having a strong faith should make life, well, easier. Like a shield, sort of.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. But the guide talks about something pretty counterintuitive. It observes that sometimes people who are more serious, more dedicated in their faith, might actually face more trials, not fewer.
Wait, really? That sounds like a total paradox. If I'm trying harder, shouldn't things get smoother?
I feel backwards, I know. But the reason the source material suggests is, well, it's about increased sensitivity.
Sensitivity to what?
To sin, to temptation. As faith gets deeper, the idea is you become much more aware of and less willing to tolerate those sort of gray areas. Things that maybe used to seem okay or just normal.
Okay. So things like maybe cutting corners financially or letting jealousy slide, or maybe even just like casual greed. Things society often shrugs off.
Exactly. Those things suddenly become big internal struggles. And sometimes external ones too, because your standard for integrity has gone up.
Okay, I think I see. Your conscience is just sharper.
Right. And the guide gives this really concrete example about integrity and peer pressure. Imagine, like, old friends or colleagues try to pull you into some scheme. Maybe pooling money for the lottery or some shady business deal that promises quick cash.
Okay.
And you say no. You choose integrity over the easy money, even if it's not technically illegal, maybe.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you feel the pressure, right? You stand out. People might think you're being judgmental or self-righteous.
Yeah, you're definitely choosing a harder path in that moment. And it shows that, just because you can do something doesn't mean it's actually good or beneficial in the long run.
And facing that pushback, that judgment from people who don't get your conviction, that's its own kind of trial. It can be really isolating.
So sometimes the toughest trials are actually these internal battles of character, where the outside pressure is really just a reaction to your own internal growth. That's interesting.
Yeah, and that leads to another big shift in perspective this study talks about. Moving away from seeing trials as just random bad luck.
Right, it introduces this challenging idea that hardship might not be meaningless at all. It suggests that suffering might actually be allowed by God. That's the phrasing used.
Allowed for a reason.
Yeah, as a process.
Yeah.
A deliberate process to shape our character, to purify our lives. It's a tough concept.
Definitely tough. To help grasp it, the source notes use a couple of really strong analogies. The first one pictures God as a kind of strict coach.
Okay, like a sports coach.
Sort of. The idea is the coach uses different drills, different challenges, those moments where you feel like you've hit a wall and can't possibly go on.
Yeah, the really grueling practices.
Yes.
Exactly. To adjust our spiritual fitness, it says, or our breathing rhythm, it feels like pushing you to your absolute limit. But the coach's goal isn't to break you, it's to build endurance, resilience you couldn't get otherwise.
Okay, that makes some sense.
Yeah.
But the second analogy, this one felt even more potent to me. God is a highly skilled alchemist, or maybe a refiner of precious metals.
Ah, the refiner's fire.
Yes.
That's a powerful image. We're like the raw, unrefined ore.
Dug out of the ground, full of impurities.
Right, and we're placed into this fiery furnace or a crucible. That's the trial, the suffering. It sounds terrifying, like pure destruction.
It does. But the key, the guide stresses, is that the process is incredibly precise. It's not just random fire.
What does that precision mean, practically? When the guide talks about the refiner controlling the temperature and the duration, what does that offer someone who feels like their trial is just dragging on forever, like Job's must have felt?
Well, I think it suggests purpose and limits. It implies the suffering isn't just chaotic or endless. There's an intelligence behind it, controlling the intensity, controlling how long it lasts.
So it's not accidental.
No. And the refiner's purpose, according to this analogy, is twofold. First, burn away the impurities, things like pride, impatience, maybe relying too much on ourselves.
To dross, basically.
Exactly. And second, crucially, to do this without destroying the valuable ore itself. The refiner wants the gold or silver at the end. They have a vested interest in it surviving the fire.
So the goal is actually preservation and purification, not destruction.
Right, to make us pure, resilient, enduring like fine gold. It totally reframes suffering, doesn't it? From random disaster to this intense, purposeful, character-forging process.
Even when it feels like the refiner is silent or far away in the middle of the heat?
Especially then, the process is still happening.
Wow. Okay, so if that's the potential purpose behind it all, how do we actually get through it? What resources does the guide say we should tap into?
Yeah, what's fascinating here is that it really highlights two essential sources of support, two lifelines, basically, during trials.
Okay, what are they?
The first one, maybe the most obvious but also the most profound, is prayer.
Just talking to God.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It's described as that direct line, the way to draw strength, to ask for wisdom, to find comfort right from the divine source. The guide even points out, Jesus himself prayed intensely while suffering on the cross.
So even in the absolute worst moments, that connection is vital. It's presented as the ultimate act of reliance, isn't it?
Exactly. And the second key resource, it's the spiritual community, your spiritual home, as the guide puts it, your church, your small group, your faith friends.
Other people, not going it alone.
Right. And this is where it connects back to Job's friends, but in a positive way. The guide really pushes back against that feeling we sometimes have, that hardship, whether it's being sick or losing a job or money problems, that it's somehow a shameful failure we need to hide.
Oh yeah, that feeling is strong, isn't it? That pride or maybe embarrassment that makes you want to just withdraw and pretend everything's fine.
Totally. It's a huge barrier to getting help. So the encouragement is, be humble, be vulnerable, reach out and seek help, seek connection from people who genuinely care and who kind of understand this refining idea.
People who won't judge you like Job's friends did.
Exactly. And the guide makes this point powerfully by contrasting Job's friends with another famous group of friends from the Bible, Daniel's three friends.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, facing the fiery furnace.
That's them. Talk about a trial by fire, literally.
Yeah.
They face King Nebuchadnezzar's rage, the threat of being burned alive.
And then they faced it together. The guide calls it team faith, real mutual trust.
They are completely unified. They stood before the king and declared their faith loud and clear. Our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us.
Yeah, total confidence in God's power.
But it's the next part that always gives me chills, their follow-up statement.
But even if he does not?
Deliver us, we will not bow down. That absolute resolve, that unity, their faith wasn't conditional on getting the outcome they wanted.
Wow. That's a world away from Job's friends who are basically saying, fix your sin so God will give you the outcome you want.
Completely different. Daniel's friends brought courage, shared commitment. And famously, they went into the furnace and came out completely unharmed. It's shown as this powerful example of what unity and unwavering faith can do. Faith that refuses to be isolated.
Okay, so, pulling this all together, what does this mean for you, the listener, today? Facing your own challenges, big or small. The guide wraps up with some key attitudes to adopt, drawn from Job's whole ordeal.
Yeah, what should we be aiming for?
First, it says, maintain reverence for the Creator. A sense of awe, maybe? Second, and this is huge, acknowledge our own limits. We just can't understand why everything happens the way it does. Let go of needing that total control or a full explanation.
Accepting that we're small, and that's okay.
Exactly. And third, tied to that, is keeping a humble, open heart, ready to receive guidance, ready to feel that presence even when things are really tough or confusing. That humility is what fights the shame that keeps us alone.
And practically speaking,
Yep.
like day-to-day action, what embodies those attitudes?
The key, the guide suggests, is just expressing honest need, complete reliance. Even if your prayers feel weak or simple,
Like what?
just basic vulnerable stuff. I really need you right now. Please help me. I can't do this alone. The source is clear. Saying that isn't giving up. It's actually the opposite.
Also,
It's the act of finally putting the crushing weight down, handing it over to a power greater than yourself. It's admitting you've run out of your own strength, which is actually the starting point for receiving that divine strength. You stop trying to carry it all.
it's the ultimate act of humility, really. Putting down the burden we weren't designed to carry by ourselves anyway.
Precisely.
Okay. So, what does this all mean? We've covered a lot of ground, from Job's, epic suffering to the anxieties and burnouts many of us feel today. We've talked about this intense idea of a refining fire.
And the crucial resources of prayer and community, real supportive community.
Right. So we've established that one way to view suffering is not as some cosmic mistake, but maybe as this intentional refining process designed to burn off impurities, help us grow.
Yeah, to make us more like that pure gold.
Okay, but if that is the case, here's a final thought to chew on. Is the main lesson just about, gritting your teeth and enduring the heat, to surviving the trial through sheer willpower?
Or is there maybe something deeper?
Could it be that the real transformation, the biggest lesson, lies in learning to overcome our own pride, our shame, learning to actively seek and, just as importantly, accept help?
Help from God through prayer, yes.
And help from our fellow humans, from our community, even when we feel weak or vulnerable doing it.
Does choosing that connection instead of isolation, choosing honesty about our struggles instead of trying to keep up appearances, does that act itself fundamentally change the whole experience of the suffering?
Does it turn the furnace from just a place of pain into maybe a shared space where real growth happens together?
It's something to think about.
Definitely something to ponder. We really hope this deep dive gives you, our listeners, maybe a new perspective on the challenges you might be facing, and perhaps the courage to reach out, to connect when you need it most.
Ponder that question as you go about your week. We wish you strength and peace.